everybody, and welcome to another episode of Honest to Pod with me, Ashley McAllister.
And me, Matthew Halley.
Matthew Halley.
I thought I'd just add a little flavour to it. We have like, have you ever like met anyone who's like Italian and then like when they speak and stuff? And they always add a H when it shouldn't be, but like take away the H when they're not supposed to.
No.
Yeah. They'll be like, I don't even know how to explain it. They'll be like, hello Matthew, how is your day? Hi, I'm happy. You know, like, I'll be like, okay, hold on. yeah, just it's so weird.
No, that is weird. As in, you're weird. So your new name is Matthew Halley?
Nah, I don't know, just don't make me think of it. Yeah, they'll be like, Matthew Halley, how are you? I'll be like, hold on 1 second. You just got it wrong. Oh. You just got it backwards. Yeah. Okay. So I'll be like, think what you think, and then don't think what you think. Change it. Yeah, Matthew Halley.
Okay, well, everybody, welcome to episode 38 of Honest to Pod, where we're doing impressions.
Oh, I'm really bad at impressions.
You're really bad at impressions.
But yeah.
But hey,
I'm not very good with accents and voices.
How are you doing, Matthew Halley?
I'm good. I might be a little bit tipsy.
Oh, I like this.
But just a little bit. Yeah.
Why?
We just had a team night out. So like where I work, like we don't really have a team because it's all a mess. And so I'm trying to like make a team. So I thought we'd have a team night out. So I tried to organize it. At the start, no one was going to show up. I was like, it's kind of like those birthdays which you organize and you're like, oh God, I hope everyone shows up. And then everyone like bit by bit is like, oh, I can't come. I was like, oh my goodness, like no one's coming. And then the people came and stuff. And then we went axe throwing, which was really good. And then we went for some dinner in this curry place. And I really had low expectations of the dinner. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah?
So good. Yeah, honestly, it was an Indian called Mumbai. I want to say Palace, but that's not true, but it probably is. Mumbai Palace. And it was delicious. Absolutely delicious. Really good price. Had really nice wine. A Gavi, in case anyone's out there want to know. I'm posh like that. And yeah, it's in Vauxhall. And actually, Mumbai Delight. I would put a shout out to Mumbai Delight in Vauxhall because it was fucking awesome.
Nice.
So good. And Axel was really good as well.
Oh, I seen your Instagram.
A few hotties there. And you just get to throw the axe. It's quite difficult.
Your natch?
Oh, do you know what? I did pretty well actually. I wasn't awful, so it was really good. And yeah, I did pretty well. You play other people as well as just like the group that you're with, so it was nice. And I didn't win overall, so that's fine. I won another game, but I didn't win that one. But I got some pretty good like bullseyes. I got a few bullseyes, and then there's these outliers where you can get 7 points. And I was the only one in the entire like session on all four sort of like areas that got it, because you ring a bell if you get it, and I did, and it was amazing. And it was really clutch as well because like someone was beating me, and I was like, "Fuck! All right, I'm gonna go for the 7 because I needed to go for it to get in top." Just smashed it, boom. Then I got the bullseye, and I was like, "Oh my God, I got so many points!"
Wow, sounds dramatic.
Yeah, it was really good. Have you been? Have you been axe throwing before?
No. That's too sophisticated for me.
No, it's good. I really enjoyed it.
Seen the video of the girl do the axe throw and then it hit and then came back and nearly hit her head and she used like a big ninja dive, and I was like, no, I'm clocking out of this.
No, everyone keeps saying that, but I haven't seen it.
Oh, have you not seen that video?
No. I need to have a look.
That she had reactions. Just I'll send it to you. Well, no, you can Google it.
Yeah,
very easily. But sounds like a good day though.
Yeah, it was a nice afternoon. It was really nice. It was really sweet, and try and do more things like that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's different, isn't it?
I've had a bit of like I'd say, you know, like my emotions and stuff, and I haven't brought it up for a couple of weeks, or maybe I did the other week, I don't know. But I had a little wobble like after Dublin and like this week and stuff, and then on the way back from axe throwing, there's this guy that I would like talk to that, but nothing's happening. He's never like given me like a wrong impression or something. But I'd asked him out before, right? And he's like, I remember the Steelers, but he was like, oh no, I'm seeing someone. I want to see how it goes. Blah blah blah. So I messaged him every now and again, just chit chat, and I always ask him like, oh, you still seeing the guy? And he's always like, yeah. And I messaged him today, and he was like, oh no, it's ended, but thanks for bringing it up. So then I was like, oh okay, so how about me, basically? And he was like, oh, no, I'm not really interested. So I was a bit like, oh, that's shit. Because I think I do have this thing where I want people that like are unattainable, it seems like, but I don't know. I'd kind of like want to see if it will work out because I find him pretty attractive. So that's a bit disheartening. It's not good when you're a little bit tipsy. So I was a bit like, oh, no.
Oh, oh well. I mean, next day.
Yeah. How was your day?
Well, I'm on. I've had a few days off work. It was my birthday on Friday,
Yes.
and have I've just sort of just taken a couple of days to myself just to chill out. Start back at work again tomorrow. So yeah, it's been good. It's pretty chilled.
Even today you were off.
Yeah, I took
What have you been doing though?
well, like it was my birthday, so I literally did absolutely nothing, which I love. But I had some errands had to do, some
Oh,
errands to do around the house, and yeah, it was pretty low key, really. I loved it. Then there's a jazz and blues festival here in Limavady, and we went out for drinks on the Saturday night. But I decided to drive instead, so I only had 1 pint.
that's crazy.
Why?
Well, why didn't you? Like, it should have been your birthday celebration.
I just, you know, I don't celebrate birthdays, so I don't.
It's true. You kept it secret. I love birthdays.
Yeah, I don't really do it. So I just enjoyed. I just enjoyed not doing anything really.
Oh, did you get any gifts?
No, yes, my mum gave me money, but I purposely asked other people not to get me anything. I got a bottle of wine from a friend, and also I got two bottles of wine actually. Yeah,
2 bottles of wine.
yeah,
Oh no, you
and I
need to
got
celebrate
a.
birthdays.
I don't celebrate them. I got a top as well. I got a new top.
You need a new tap. Ooh,
Oh God, here we go. Let's open up this can of
that
worms.
was amazing.
No, I just I don't really like birthdays. I don't celebrate them. They're just so pointless.
No, I love a birthday. I love to celebrate a birthday. I love a day about me.
I don't like that sort of attention.
Even though I've got a twin brother and I've always had to split it, I still see it as just my day and my day only.
Yeah, well, I mean, we all have birthdays, so they're pretty pointless.
Oh wow, you're a bundle of joy, aren't you?
Sorry.
Honestly.
My God, birthdays are the best. I love them.
I love a birthday.
I just why though? They're just so non-special.
Because you make them non-special.
Let's celebrate the day where my face rubbed against my mum's vagine.
You did post that thing today as well with those aliens. That was pretty funny. Is that what you're thinking? Is that you're thinking about your birthday or something? And then you were like, okay. Um, where did you get that? Where did you get the video? Where did you get the little clip from? Not clip, the comic.
My God, how drunk are you? I just found it on the internet.
Do I sound really drunk?
You sound a bit drunk, yeah.
Oh well, I'm kind of waiting for you because you keep doing these like long pauses where you're not saying anything, and I'm like, is there a problem or is there a delay?
Oh, I think there might be a delay then because I'm not pausing.
Well, anyway, it's a shame you don't celebrate your birthday. I love a birthday. I've seen some of those comics before,
Yeah,
and they're quite funny, but I don't know who writes them. It doesn't help with anyone not being able to see it if I say that random comic that no one's ever heard of.
I will post it on Instagram. If they follow me, they already see it, obviously. So
Definitely do it. It's really funny, actually. Well, it's good that you did nothing for 5 days.
yeah, no. Should we jump into some issues?
All right. Should I go first? Because mine will be quite short.
Yeah, you go first.
So this is something I wanted to talk about last week, but then obviously we had a recap of like our hodom or lack thereof in Dublin. So it might be a week late. But I want to talk about Nike. Nike have they've got a big flagship store in London called Niketown, which is actually like a show store as well as like their flagship store. So they use it to display new things as well. And they have the women's section upstairs. And they've introduced some I don't want to say alternative, but a range of mannequins. So one of which is like a mannequin of, and this is for their women's range. a mannequin in a wheelchair, but they've also got some plus size mannequins for their clothes that don't just fit like athletic, thin, um, really petite women, but actually women of all sizes. And with that, obviously came backlash about from people being like, it's ridiculous. You're highlighting um, fat people. You're celebrating them when actually people need to be thin and in shape and fit. And there's an interview. I was in an autograph fucking article from, and you're not able to read it because you have to pay money. And I wouldn't pay money to the Telegraph if this woman's going to write it. But it was a woman called Tanya Gold who basically just says that obese mannequins are selling women a dangerous lie because they're saying that actually these women are obese and that they're um, at risk of killing themselves if women would be that size. And first of all, I want to say for me personally, I think that I think it's amazing to have different size mannequins because they've always been like unrealistic shapes for sure, and don't represent hardly any of the population. They're literally tiny, tiny little things, and these clothes that barely fit them. And to actually have mannequins that fit sizes 12 and 14 and 16, I think is a great thing. And it's amazing that such a big company, the biggest in the world for sports gear probably, is putting such a wide range of shapes and sizes and promoting exercise to all types of people. Have you seen it yourself?
Yeah, I seen it last week, like you said, and then, yeah, I didn't get to read. I didn't want to pay that article either for the Telegraph. Yeah, Tanya Gold, but I read somebody else had talked about it somewhere else, and like she uses really sensational, like horrible language, like obese, gargantuan, dangerous. It's just like her intention was to, I guess, spread fear
Mm,
or just be so out there and outrageous that it sort of clickbaity.
for sure.
It was actually like I don't off the gut. I just say I love the idea. I think it's great. I didn't actually initially realize they also did para sport mannequins, but then yeah, as I did a bit more research, yeah, they did, which is awesome.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, it was great. I think like you said, it was all about empowering people. But yeah, it is good. I think there's a big difference here than when we talked last about Tess Holiday.
mm,
Do you remember we did Tess Holiday on the Glamour cover model?
yes,
So to me, the difference here that's to sell it like putting Tess on the cover model was celebrating obesity in a way that I don't agree with. But at the same time, from doing a bit of research into Tess Holiday at the time, it was clear that she still works out. And to me, as long as you're healthy, it doesn't matter.
absolutely.
And I think what Nike have done here is they've sort of said, look, people are like there's nothing to say that somebody who's large is naturally just unfit. Is that naturally more unfit than somebody who's thin?
Not at all.
Like, it doesn't come down to body shape. But what does come down to a lot of body shape is the mannequins. And when you're already a bit self doubting your ability, because you are that larger size, and you walk into a sports store and everyone you look around is really chiseled, you sort of say this isn't for me. Like I can't identify with anything here,
Mm,
so it's going to hold you back mentally. It's going to hold you back. And anyone who does any sort of exercise should know how important the brain is when it comes to exercise. So when you're already starting off your sports journey or your fitness journey on a negative, it's just it's not encouraging, and I can probably guarantee it won't last very long. And I think it's just also really bad that people are are having a go at Nike for this. I honestly I don't see the bad side in it. I even started said in my head started playing devil's advocate, thinking like, is there a risk that if we have mannequins at the size, we are familiarizing ourselves with this? But then it goes back to saying like, just because you're large doesn't mean you're unfit. Like, so I don't. I genuinely can't see a bad angle from this.
I really can't. Like, I don't understand. It's an exercise shop as well. Like, it's saying like actually, well, a sportswear shop. we would like you, if even if you do have aspirations to lose weight, which I think is fine. It's not saying that you need to be chiseled and have like the tiniest waist, but actually, if you do have aspirations to exercise and keep fit, and you want to have the correct equipment to do so, that's a good thing. They're saying we have clothes that will fit you. You should be able to wear leggings and wear a sports top and wear a breathable vest without feeling like actually this will not look good on me, or it's not made for me. It's made for thinner people, because arguably you want those people that are actually maybe on the fringes of physical health, whether they're too small or too big in some instances, like, or, their body ratio and their fat ratio isn't necessarily ideal. You want them to come into your shops and you want them to say, okay, well, look, we've got the right gear for you. We want you to feel comfortable, and actually we promote to you. Like, it's saying that they shouldn't do that and saying we have nothing for you will push people away. It's only saying like you should not be fat. It's not saying like, you're thin. You should be able to exercise. So yeah, I don't see a negative, and I just think I wanted to point out and highlight the fact that well done, I think, for Nike, or Nike, if you want to call it that, or I call it Nike. I don't know why I said that. For having these mannequins that are there for larger people, because many of us, myself included, I'm a fuller figured woman, and I also believe that I am in a decent physical shape because I exercise regularly. That I may not have a six pack, I may have wide hips and juicy thighs, but actually, I'd like to go into a shop and say, actually, these are clothes that I can wear and would like to wear for sure.
Defos. One thing that on Good Morning Britain that they talked about, a lady Mandy Platt, what she was saying is she was actually the against the mannequins,
Really?
but she did make one good point, and I thought that makes sense. I, she was saying that Nike should have her opinion, which I don't agree with, is that Nike shouldn't have made a bigger deal about it. They should have just put the larger clothes in with the rest, and I disagree with that. I think they did it perfectly. But she did then say that they should include like little car, and I don't know if they do this or not anywhere else in the store, so I don't know. But they should include little cards of like best ways to get back into fitness, or little guides, or even I would have pushed it as a marketer. I would have pushed it a bit further and joined up with a gym to say, hey, you know, go try this. Direct them towards a gym and get them a couple of free days in the gym just by buying, like, if you buy a certain amount at Nike, you get like 5 free passes to the gym, something like that. Made a bit more of a campaign about it.
Hold on.
Um,
If those that bought the plus size clothes got given an extra promotion like gym passes.
no, not just plus, like just everyone, just a bigger thing, celebrating it at the same
Oh,
time.
I thought you were saying, okay, well, those that like get what the larger mannequin's wearing. I was like, well, that's ridiculous. You can't then say that those that are larger needs to have free gym so they can go, because they might not be larger, they might be small. But yeah, if it's everyone, if it's inclusive, then fair enough. Because yeah, that mental aspect of it is huge,
Yeah,
and
no,
you know, supporting everyone I think is important, but not just for those that are larger, because that's not true.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But yeah, I don't want to say too much on it. I just thought, like, actually, I would say it's amazing that Nike have done that, and I wouldn't mind seeing. I didn't hear and haven't looked to see if there's one for men, but I think that I would appreciate seeing a larger men in there. I really struggle with clothes because I don't have a typical man's shape. I've got really wide hips, so for example, it's not so much sports clothes, although it is actually any men's t-shirts and stuff. Um, T-shirts and shirts in particular. I can't do like the bottom buttons up and pull them down because my body isn't straight. So where my bum and my hips are, it's really wide, and so I have to undo the bottom buttons up so that the shirt will fit around my, like, that area. And I think that if there's more um, clothes available for my shape and different shapes, and then they were like promoted, I would absolutely feel amazing. I might be an anomaly. I know that many people do have men's bodies, like in that respect, typical men's bodies, very straight, very down, very triangular. But I'm a pair, and I think a pair needs that. Although I think men's shirts, no, I do not know any human man that says that a men's shirt with their neck size fits their body. Do you?
Um, no, I don't think so. I think my shirts, any shirts I buy always need to be tailored afterwards, I think.
Like, as in brought in, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So if you buy a neck size, the neck size is like, if the neck fits you, the shirt's too big. You can either buy a shirt that fits you, but it doesn't fit around your neck.
Yeah, so if the neck fits me perfectly, it's like a tent, and I have to get it brought in at the
That's the
arms
same for me.
and at the
So, and
sides.
but I've never met a person being like, no, the shirts fit excellently. I just I don't know what world this is, but yeah, shirts aren't as big as they used to be in the old days. So yeah, I don't know. They need to start changing those shirts as well. But yeah, it'd be nice if they brought that over to the men's side because I'd appreciate that very much.
Mm,
Bring back pear-shaped men.
yeah, I agree. I'd be interested to know if any of our listeners can think of a negative angle to this or disagree with it in total. Um, well, I think it'd be. I just out of curiosity, what negative angles do they see from it? Because
No,
I don't see one.
I don't see it. But that's what I wanted to say. I want to congratulate and also just say that horrible woman is horrible.
Yes, well done, Nike and bad form Telegraph. Fire Tanya Gold because
Yeah,
she don't know what she's talking about.
I don't know. I mean, I don't read the papers that often, but I thought the Telegraph was. I didn't realize. Is it a right wing paper? Do you know?
I don't know. I didn't think it was, but I think it was definitely.
I thought it was
It's
impartial, but that obviously was not the case.
well, I mean, it's not really a left and right issue. I don't think. I think it was more of an opinion piece.
Yeah, the commentaries and stuff. Yeah.
I just think it was to me the only reason I was surprised it was published, and I think the only reason was to get clickbait, get people to talk about it and buy it, and raise the profile of the Telegraph.
Cool. So, what do you want to say, Boo?
Mine's what I want to talk about is slightly different. So, at the weekend there, do you follow boxing at all?
No. You don't either.
No, what? I love it. So, at the weekend, Tyson Fury was fighting another fighter called Tom Schwartz. So, again, I didn't watch it, but
You watched the fight last night.
Tyson Fury, who you might know, do you know of Tyson Fury?
Absolutely.
You know him?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. No, I know who Tyson Fury is.
Yeah.
He always sings like a song after he wins.
Does he?
He does, yeah. He always does sing along, and it's always quite well known. He did the same thing after this one.
Ah, okay. His brother Tommy Fury's
Anyway, that's not the point.
in Love Island.
Oh my god, I know. I was going to bring that up, but thank you for bringing it up because Tommy Fury is unbelievable.
Yeah, he's
Unbelievable.
a very handsome guy.
He's just gorgeous. He's so dim, and I just and he keeps jumping from girl to girl, which is true. And he's like, "Oh, I love you," and he thinks he's got so much band, but no. Anyways,
Okay. So anyway,
that's the point of the story, right?
yeah, that was it. Thanks, guys, for listening. Bye.
Cool. End of story. Bye.
So Tyson Fury was fighting the weekend. For those who don't know, Tyson Fury is a boxer. He's from Manchester. He's been around for a while, but he actually just had probably about 3 or 4 years off boxing. So he sort of was in his prime 3 or 4 years ago. So in 2015, he won the heavyweight champion of the world title, but he lost it within 10 days of getting it because of some clash with fights and some screw up of the contract. So the title was stripped off him. But up before that, he hasn't had a really good history of things that he's publicly said about women and about the LGBTQ community. So things that he said about homosexuals is that he thinks homosexuality is one of 3 things that will lead to the apocalypse. It's up there with abortion and pedophilia.
Abortion.
Abortion and pedophilia, yep.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He mentioned that in the 50s or 60s, out of the 3 of them, homosexuality, abortion, and pedophilia, they probably would have never guessed that any of those would be made legal. So I'm guessing what he's suggesting in that is that his assumption is that one day pedophilia would be made legal. I'm not sure what else he could have meant, but I'm not saying that's what he said, but that's what I took away from it. But I also just likening homosexuality and abortion to pedophilia is massively wrong. And before that, he was investigated for using homophobic tweets. He was fined £3,000, but he's never really apologized for it all. People will probably accept that he basically said once that he says lots of things and it's all a bit of tongue in cheek, and he apologizes to anyone that gets hurt by it, which isn't to me, which isn't an apology. It's a bit of a non-apology, in my opinion. But so in 2015, he went through a bit of a tough time. Like I said, his title was taken off him. He got massively depressed. He gained lots of weight. He was on alcohol, drugs, going out to parties, and I'm sure he said in an interview, but I couldn't really hear. But I'm sure he said he was spending time with prostitutes, and he also got into such a dark place that he had tried to kill himself. Then last year, he makes a bit of a comeback. He was on a very famous Joe Rogan interview on the podcast where he talks about his comeback and how he fought his mental illness of suicide and depression, and he's back trying to make a name for himself in boxing. He was determined to do really well, and then just fight after fight after fight, he's done really really well. And coming up to the weekend, like you're hearing things that are things like he's a nation's endearment. He's gone from villain to hero. Gone from the darkness into the light. He's gone from outcast to king. Um, he's been he's been promoted as the people's champion, and it just kind of got. I meant to say also what he said about women. Again, he said that a woman's place is in the kitchen or on her back. So overall, like, not a nice guy.
That's vile. A woman's place. That's disgusting.
So he started making this comeback, and in an interview last year, he was asked about his previous comments. And the interview, which wasn't like a let's bump into you on a carpet type of interview, it was a planned interview. The interview lasted probably about 30 seconds. After he was asked if his opinions have changed on homosexuality, he sort of said no comment. The interview pressed harder, and he just decided to cancel the interview and he walked out. So to me, that suggests that his opinions haven't changed. He just doesn't want to talk about it because of the negativity that would come with it in today's society. Because there's been quite a big jump in what society would have done 3 or 4 years ago versus today. And what really got to me is Tyson Fury being given a pass to not be held accountable for his homophobic and misogynistic expressions because he has overcome this mental illness and his depression. And just to take an aside, his interview with Joe Rogan is really, really good. And I do actually applaud the guy for talking so openly about his battle with mental illness. Not a lot of people talk about it. And for it to come from somebody who was once crowned heavyweight champion of the world, it does show like a lot of respect for that. But I still do think he should be held accountable to his views and his opinions because, in my opinion, he's no worse or no better than Israel Folau. What do you think?
I don't know if you've been given. Yeah. Well, this is a conversation that we had in Dublin actually, because we're talking about like I don't know, things like Michael Jackson or R. Kelly, or people that commit things or do things or say things, but actually they're seen in another light because of their art. So you get some of the greatest artists or some of the greatest achievers in the world who perform at a high level in whatever they do, but actually have, I don't know, quite disconcerting or quite polarizing views about certain things or but actions or behaviors. Pardon me. But can you, or should you, not even can you, should you separate the individual and their personality with their accolades and their achievements? Because if someone's so successful and they're suddenly now the nation's sweetheart because they've overcome so much in their own personal lives, is it okay to forget these things? And I truly don't believe that it is. I do not. I think that they come hand in hand. So if you want to applaud someone and revel in their greatness, whether it is an art form or otherwise, then you need to take into account um, their entire body of work, right? Um, Now, that's not to say if someone did something in the past but had changed their views and grown from it, I think that's different. So I actually don't think it's fair to say, I don't know, not that I agree with politicians, but if a politician has been, recently they're talking about a politician taking cocaine when they were younger, or a few years past and they don't do it anymore, I wouldn't say, it's more that they've just been caught out than they've just done it. But if they're not doing it now, and something someone did when they were younger, but they've grown up, then fair enough. But Tyson Fury may still be showing his really conservative views, and I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's the right thing to then say, okay, well, he's our nation's sweetheart because he's not. He's only, you know, I keep saying sweetheart. That's not what they said, but the nation's champion. Pardon me, but he's not. He's only half the nation, or or less than. And I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right at all. And to put like pedophilia in the same as homosexuality and abortion, and I'm kind of tired. I'm not even dealing with abortion and stuff like that, but people are so crazy about how men telling women what they should do with their bodies. I think is insane, insane. Yeah, I just think that you can't separate his accolades and his achievements in boxing with the person that he is and how he presents himself forward. And I just think it's wrong. I think it's wrong. I think his views are unacceptable and they shouldn't be celebrated.
Well, this is the next big question because he's done such this big comeback in sports and in boxing, and apparently it is like I don't know boxing, but like anyone who I speak to who does know boxing say, well, he's done this amazing thing. So fair play to him, great for that, you know. But because he's done it, there's been this big push to have him named as like BBC's Sports Personality of the Year. I don't even think he should be nominated, not until he apologizes for his previous views on women and on homosexuality and proves that his personality, because it's in the name of in the name of the award, Sports Personality of the Year, that his personality is up there with what society deems as respectful. Because I, as great as a sporting achievement is, unless and he hasn't like he hasn't. And what I found really odd as well when I was doing a bit of research, I tried to find what Wikipedia was saying about what he said about homosexualities, and I thought that's quite a big thing he said, and it's not even on his Wikipedia page. So I was a bit taken back by that. I was like, wow, that's sort of like in my head. I was like, is this like some Big Brother shit where they're trying to eliminate all the negativity so that people just forget and move on because he's overcome this great barrier of mental health? I'm like, oh, I I to me,
But aren't those created by people as opposed to like a company?
yeah. So you anyone,
People amend and create like Wikipedia pages, no?
yeah, anyone can go in and amend it. Like I think you or I can go in and add stuff in if we wanted to. But the fact that it wasn't in there was shocking, which to me would say, especially because the misogyny bit was in there, but nothing about homosexuality, which makes me think that somebody's gone in and maybe removed it, like his PR team or something.
And they may have the people that follow him and love him and adore him. They may do that.
But to me, I just in my head, and I don't like the guy. And whenever the Joe Rogan stuff came out, like I felt for him. Like I don't obviously when somebody's in a dark place and they're suicidal, it's not a good place to be in. I'm glad that he's made the choices and made the movements to better himself in that way. But I don't think he deserves this praise and this platform that he's been given because he doesn't seem to be repenting or apologetic for anything that he said in the past. And I don't think he should be given that until he does. I don't think he should be given that up. I don't think he should be given the right to say, actually, I'm going to cancel this interview because I don't want to talk about it. I think he should be forced to talk about stuff that he said in the past. One of the things that happened also just at the weekend, there was an ESPN um, news anchor. He's called, I'm going to absolutely butcher his name, but he's called Israel Gutierrez, I think. So he was on this panel show and they talking about the upcoming fight. The fight hadn't happened at this point, and he basically wanted to take a moment and say, "Look, this is what it feels like being a gay guy watching Tyson Fury." He says it makes me feel like I don't matter. It makes me feel like my friends don't matter. It makes me feel like my partner doesn't matter. He went on to say that he's still going to watch the fight because he hopes that it strengthens him, but he wanted us to know, or everyone, the listeners and the watchers to know, it's because of guys like Tyson Fury that he and the rest of us have to fight every day. And then he just finished it off with "Happy Pride, everyone." And it was a very emotional. Like he clearly was about to cry while he was saying this. And I totally get where he's coming from. It's like, I don't know how this guy is able to have the screen time and the sponsorship and everything that he gets because he's made this great comeback over mental health. And I'm not taking that away from him. What he's done is great, but he's just he's it it hurts people when he's talking about how he overcame suicide. The stuff that he says drives people, drives gay kids to suicide. Like telling them, like likening them to pedophilia is not the right environment. So for somebody who's overcome so much mental health, he needs to look at himself and say, what have I done to damage other people? And don't just snide it off with I say a lot of things that hurts a lot of people. I just say it tongue in cheek. Sorry if it hurts anyone. No, that you're dealing with people's lives. And for somebody who's just come back from such a mental health crisis, and I just think he needs to be held more accountable to what he has said in the past. That's all. I just literally talked.
I do kind of disagree in some instances.
Okay, go for it.
Um, well, it's just you say like you don't know how he gets the platform, and he shouldn't be given that, and he should be forced to do interviews. But none of that's actually possible. Like he can't be forced to speak because it's not the environment, it's not society we live in where you're forced. Free speech or lack thereof in that instance is actually okay, and people should be able to express their opinions and their views as much as possible. And the way that he got there, and probably rightly so, he got there by excelling and being quite literally the best at what he does, and therefore he's getting the rewards for doing that. So he's earned his position not through his speak, but by his actions and his ability. And in this world that we live in, those that excel in sport and in acting and singing and all these sorts of things and opportunities as well, they're given platforms based on those achievements. And the BBC Sports Personality of the Year awards, I don't know, like that's got to do with what you achieve in sports. Maybe it does have an aspect of like your certain level of celebrity, and if that does come into account, then I'd say fair enough. Maybe he doesn't deserve it. But if it's got to do with what you achieve in sport, then I'm like, okay, well, sport is separate to his personal feelings. I think the discredit and the part that actually is important is he is free to say what he wants and is able to do so. And if he has his beliefs, do you know what? They're his beliefs. What's wrong is like the media or whoever gives him the platform, those that advertise, those that wants to interview him and ask him about his thoughts, because it continues to give the individual the space to continue their speech, their hate speech, right? So, what you should do is not give that person airtime. Much like what we're doing now, we're speaking about it, fine, fair enough. But actually, if many people, and not just us, but other people chose to ignore and not ignore, but actually, go away from giving someone, a newspaper article or a TV interview, the person that wants to interview him, grill them on their thoughts. Well, the person, Tyson Fury, is allowed to express his thoughts. He's been given someone asked, "Can I interview you about your feelings?" He said, "Yeah, I may answer those questions or not." That's actually his right to do so. But if there were more people like you and I who disagree with what you're saying, the best thing to do is to not promote his message, really, because bad press is still press, or whatever you say, And we're saying, okay, now people may look into Tyson Fury, which they may not have before, and look at his views. Now, if they choose to action and say and promote saying that don't follow him, maybe it'll roll into something bigger. But at the moment, because his sporting accolades outweigh his views, and the majority of people these days are in a privileged position where they don't need to. They may not be surrounded by homosexuals. They may have abortions, but don't see it in the same way, and that's still like up and down. But pedophiles aren't widely open about their actions, or maybe in prison or whatever. Actually, it's kept quiet, so you don't know if they're around you. So they may not have to. They may not be surrounded by those that fall within those categories, really. So if they're not involved with homosexuals or women who are having abortions or pedophiles, they don't really. They may not resonate with those. They may not even listen to the speeches because they're like, you know what, I'm straight, I'm cisgender, whatever. This doesn't affect me. I'm fine. I'm good. But the media or whoever shouldn't give a platform. It's not so much he's actually free to say what he wants to say.
100% disagree with what you've just said, because there's no difference now than what he's done than what Israel Folau has done. And what it took was for somebody like the body of the Australian rugby to say, look, no, this is no longer acceptable. Like you cannot just spurt off your thoughts like that and not deal with the consequences. And this is exactly the same. He can't be put in a spotlight and given this attention and given this focus and given this praise, being called the people's champion. It's like, what people? He's not my person's champion. He would rather see me die than anything else because I'm gay. I don't think this type of guy should be given any sort of platform unless he's willing to take responsibility for the things he said. I'm not saying he can't be forgiven and moved on. That's fine. Part of growth is making mistakes and learning from them. But he has, in my opinion, has to be held accountable for the nasty, horrible, hateful things he said in the past. And it shouldn't. And what I think is,
No, but that I agree with that.
yeah, but that's all I said. All I'm saying is he should be made. I'm not. He should be made to he should be made to. I think he's given a pass over what he said about the LGBT community and his misogyny because he's overcome this massive mental health thing. And I don't think that's right. I think it's great he's done that, but I don't think he should be, oh, do you know what, per Tyson, he's done all this. Let's just forget about what he done in the past. It's like, no, we can't just forget about what he done in the past because he said some really fucking shitty things in the past. And I don't think he should be given all this praise and all this
It's,
comeback attention until he's actually, you know what, as a human being, as part of his growth, has gone back and said, actually, I have these views. I'm not saying he has to change what his views are to fit in. Not at all. I would never say that. But he has to deal with the consequences of what his views are. And people in the boxing should take the same stance as people in rugby to say, no, it's not. It's not even about the two sports. All sports should be the same. Like it's ridiculous.
no, but that's a bit different. They might be the same thing. The outcome's different because Israel Folau's employer had held him accountable and said, actually, we don't stand for the same values as you. And so if you are representing us, it's important that you keep your views within your community and yourself and dealt with that accordingly. But in this instance, the difference is what I don't agree with you saying he shouldn't say the things that he feels and he um, shouldn't be given a platform, but he, how did he earn it? And all I'm saying is that he earned it through being excellent at what he does. And actually, it's not his job to self-police. It's actually those outside. But if there's no governing body or his employer or, the country, the media don't hold him accountable, then that's not necessarily on him. That would be on us or the media or his employers to say, it's not okay to do that. And at this point, I think the injustice is that at this point, it's just being accepted and brushed over. I agree, or what I believe is that people shouldn't separate their personal accolades or their professional accolades with their personal views. Right? I think they go hand in hand. You can't separate that. So, if he wins a boxing title, he can't not win it. Like he should win it due to his boxing, but the opportunity to have these fights or the interviewing process or even he'll get like sponsorship or endorsements. Sponsors should pull away if he doesn't share this, if they don't share the same views as he does. They shouldn't give him that, and they may well do that because it's business, and I think that is wrong. I think he's well within his right to express his views. I actually genuinely believe that Israel Folau is well within his right to express his views, but deal with the consequences. Israel Folau had consequences, which I believe is right. Tyson Fury should have consequences. That may not happen. I think that is wrong, not him expressing his views. I don't agree with his views at all. I do not agree, but I'm within my right to say I don't agree. He's well within his rights to say these are my views. But if his employer or I don't know, people that he represents don't agree with him, then they should hold him accountable for that. They should hold him accountable. But he's earned a platform based on his excellency in his field.
Yes, I agree with that.
That's what I was saying.
Yes, no, I agree.
Not saying that.
I think we're both on the same page. I don't think I said he shouldn't be allowed to express his views. And I think what you pointed out, which I missed out, is there doesn't seem to be any consequences for him having these views. So yeah, I think we're both on the same page. We both, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, I just hate him so much.
And it's a bit different because I think boxers don't. I may be wrong, but it's not the same as Israel Folau, where he's employed by a governing body and it's within a team situation, a team sport. I think there's a certain element of self-employment with boxing. They probably have to register under a certain, under each classification of the belts. But actually, if it's more his sponsorship, or he doesn't have a direct employer that is, I don't know what the boxing society would be called, but they're individuals. It's like being self-employed in some sense, as opposed to working for a business. So if I was a self-employed person, I'm my own boss essentially. Therefore, the only person that hold me accountable are those that are going to employ me, right? The people that will contract me. In your case, you work in advertising stuff. The only people that can hold you accountable when you're self-employed are the people that will give you contracts, and they could not give you contracts based on who they think you are. But at this point, they're not doing that. They're going to say, okay, we're still going to give you sponsorship. We're still going to give you interview time. We're still going to pay you for your time. But that's not okay. Whereas Israel Folau is a bit different because he's working for a big company that actually represent many other people. And so because they do that, they might, they take a bigger stance on it potentially. And, their views are different. And well done for them more than anything. And bad on us for not holding Tyson Fury in place when these views are coming out. Yeah. I also think there was an internet thing I just saw a message come up on my computer. So that was a shame. That's why I cut off, I think. You still there? Ashley?
I think you've lost. I think you're lost again, Matt.
Ashley? Oh, no.
Hey everyone, we are experiencing some dropout issues, so I am sorry about that. It's twice now that Matt has dropped out of the chat, which is unfortunate, but one of the side effects of recording it in two different locations over the internet. Thanks everyone for listening. It's been a really insightful episode. If you've any thoughts on what we've talked about, please feel free to let us know. Drop us a comment on Instagram posts. It'd be great. We love to hear debates and talk about it. And I'm not saying I'm right in anything. I'm very passionate about what we just talked about, but we'd love to hear what other people think as well. So yeah, thanks everyone for listening. Have a good week, and we'll catch you next week. All right, thanks everyone. Bye bye.